Hello, and how is everyone out there doing? Ryan from Fight Game Analysis here, and today we're going to be giving my first thoughts on Tyron Woodley versus Colby Covington. If you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and like this video and also subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate the support. So I don't believe the fight's been announced. I don't think it's official yet or anything like that, but a lot of us who've been following the sport have seen this one coming. We figured it was only a matter of time before these two were going to meet up. So the other day I'm watching Tyron Woodley's Instagram Live, and he announces on there that it is official that him and Colby Covington will meet. They don't have a date yet. They're still trying to finalize a few things. I think he mentioned they're shooting for like October, November, something like that. And like I just mentioned, it doesn't surprise anybody. Tyron Woodley was the champion for a long time, been at the top of division forever. Colby Covington just got a shot at the belt in Usman. He's been at the top of the division for a long time. It was only a matter of time before both of these guys were gonna clash heads. They were gonna meet up. On top of that, they've got the bad blood. They've been talking trash back and forth, so that's been building for a little bit. They've both got history with ATT, American Top Team, training as a gym. So there's some history there. There's a little bit of background that adds a little bit of spice to the whole thing. So Tyron Woodley makes this announcement, and I start to think right away, how is it exactly that these two are going to match up? In some ways, they seem very similar. Right? If you look at them on paper, both of them come from a heavy wrestling background, very impressive wrestling credentials, transfer on over to MMA, and both see a lot of success. Obviously, Woodley saw a little bit more by actually winning the belt. But when you start to break it down, their games are actually very different. That's kind of where it ends, just on paper. When they actually put their skills into use in the octagon, they're different guys. Now take T. Wood on one hand, right? So Woodley comes from his wrestling background, but you don't actually see him use that wrestling that much. We've seen him use it more defensively than we've seen him use it offensively. Likes to keep it on the feet. And when he's on the feet, he is all about that right hand. Right, that right hand, it's huge. He goes out there, he hits guys with that, man, they disappear, knocks them out, game over. Been sleeping guys in the division with that right hand for a long time. Not only that, it's the way he delivers that right hand. He's all about the explosion. He covers a tremendous amount of space incredibly quickly. He catches seasoned fighters, right? Guys who strike, guys who know about timing, guys who have footwork. He catches them off guard. That's how fast he covers distance. And he explodes. And it's not just one shot. He'll explode and track a guy down across the octagon while he retreats and lands multiple shots. So it's a really impressive flurry, that explosion that he comes out with. And he can catch a lot of guys slipping with it. Now, what's his weakness? Well, I mean, really, ultimately, we saw that weakness exposed with Usman. He can get overwhelmed, which is a little bit surprising because he comes from that wrestling background. So I was shocked at the way that Usman was able to handle him. That just relentless pressure, that clinch work, the takedown. So, I mean, it was surprising. I mean, I know Usman's big. I know he's strong for the division. I know that he also has the wrestling credential background. But I just didn't think going into that fight that there was going to be anybody at 170 pounds who was going to be able to handle Woodley like that. But it showed, right? It showed that. And then you look at his fight with Burns, where he just came out afterwards and he was like, man, like, I just got smashed. Like, there's nothing else to it. And then we turn around and we look at Colby Covington's game. Like, man, that's what his game is built on. That's his whole thing, right? Relentless pressure, super high-level wrestling, and just ridiculous off-the-charts cardio. At this point in time, that kind of seems to be Woodley's weakness, right? I mean, so think about, let's start out with his cardio, because that's what Colby is known for. Number one is the way he pushes the pace. He just goes out there and smokes guys with that pace. His head coach down at American Top Team, a world-renowned gym, Mike Brown, he's like, I've never seen anybody has cardio like this. I think it's just natural. I think he just, some kind genetically, he's just like predisposed to it. I've never seen anybody like it. Sure, he works super hard. Sure, he's just busting his butt all day long. But that cardio is just kind of something else. He trains from where he's from. I think he's from Oregon. I think, not Mike Brown, Colby Covington's from Oregon. And there is a world-famous endurance athlete out there, Cam Hanes. And he trains with Cam Hanes. Runs in the mountains with Cam Hanes. That's the kind of cardio this dude's got. Okay, and it shows in the octagon. When Colby Covington steps in there, he throws ridiculous punches. He actually has the record for the most strikes thrown in an MMA match at 591. Think about that for a second. 591 strikes. and just applies the constant pressure along with the wrestling and the takedowns and everything else, right? So then you look at his wrestling, which goes hand in hand with the cardio. His wrestling, top of the food chain. Like, he was a very good wrestler. The way he got into MMA was because the owner of American Top Team needed better wrestlers at his gym for his MMA fighters to train with. So he called up Colby Covington after he graduated from college, and he said, hey, why don't you come down here and work and be a wrestling partner for my MMA guys? He got down there. Colby got down there. He liked it. He fit right in. He said, boom, you know what? I'm not just going to be a wrestling guy. I'm going to actually turn pro, train MMA myself, which he did. And then his boxing. So his boxing is pretty good. Now, his boxing isn't necessarily as good as Woodley's, but he throws so many strikes, and it's overwhelming, and the pressure that he brings with it is just, it's crazy. And he can land some good shots. He can land some hard shots. But you even look at a guy who's as versatile and as good in striking as Dos Anjos. Colby Covington, through his pace and his pressure, was actually able to do better at the striking game. So a guy like Woodley, whose really striking game is built around his explosiveness and his power, he doesn't match up well with a volume striker like Colby Covington. Now, I'm going to break all this down. I'm going to get into the analysis and prediction. With this fight is a few months out, so I'm going to really dig into the X's and O's of each guy and see their tendencies and all that. These are just some first initial thoughts. But initially, you've got Woodley with the power and the explosiveness and the defensive wrestling. And you've got Colby Covington, on the other hand, with the ridiculous pressure, the cardio, and really good offensive wrestling. Man, I don't know. And then let's throw one more layer on top of there. Okay? You've got Woodley, who's like 38 years old, coming off of 2 losses, former champ. If he were to lose this fight, if he were to lose 3 in a row, dude, his days at the top of the division are basically over. It's done with. So I don't think his motivation for winning this fight could be any higher. Oh, and on top of that, he personally doesn't seem to like Colby Covington. Now you've got Colby Covington on the other hand. In his last fight, he's coming off his title loss to Usman. He can't afford to get another loss and have 2 losses in a row, or he's going to have to put together like 4 wins before he gets another title shot. If he wants to remain relevant, if he wants to get another shot at the belt anytime soon, he's got to win every single fight in front of him, including this one against the former champion. So his motivation couldn't be any higher. And oh, by the way, he doesn't like Tyron Woodley. So both of these guys are coming in with bad blood, and both of them absolutely need a win here to cement their status in the division and to continue to move forward. So I think this just has all the makings to be a phenomenal fight. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. How's this one going to turn out for Woodley? How's this one going to turn out for Covington? Whoever wins this fight, what's his next prospects look like? Is it going to be an immediate title shot, or is he going to have to wait for somebody else and kind of see how things play themselves out in the division first? If you've been liking the content, please go ahead and smash on that like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support.